Well, I flew a lot over the last couple of days. You flew much more than I did over the last couple of weeks, but I flew to my daughter lives in Maine, so I flew through Atlanta on Friday, through Detroit yesterday, and when you're going through the TSA area, you listen to this video by Kristi Noem like over and over and over, and I've never listened to it, but she's there talking and whatnot. Well, apparently there's a little bit different version now that's going on, and of her video. And Salt Lake City Airport has decided not to play part of it. Here's more from KSL NewsRadio's Adam Small.
If you've flown in the last 2 weeks, there's a good chance you've caught a glimpse of this video of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay.
But now Salt Lake City Airport leaders say they will not be playing that video, citing concerns with a state law that says you can't use city-owned equipment for, quote, political activity. A spokesperson for the Salt Lake City Airport tells the Salt Lake Tribune the airport monitors our city-owned equipment, and their attorneys and head of the airport said they cannot post messages on them if they're used for political messaging. Airports around Los Angeles, Seattle, Phoenix, and other cities say they will not be playing the video either. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
I didn't hear it. I guess I tuned that out just because it's you've heard it over and over and over. But did you hear it when any of your flights?
No. So what we saw, of course, was here's how you go through the line, and please be polite, and you don't need to take your shoes off in the United States. But coming the other way, we had to take our shoes off. I had to take my watch off this time. It's like I never had to do that. But
well, yeah, the TSA agent says take your shoes off, and then she said, "Oops, that's
that's
not true anymore." Actually, I thought that. Getting through TSA was much easier and faster than ever. For me, it went much better.
Yeah, and our listeners should know we've reached out to the Salt Lake City International Airport for them to join us. If they have time to come on air with us today, we'll be happy to take them whenever they can.
Right.
But yeah, look, I have a question. Not only about the state law where you can't use city-owned equipment for political messaging, but what about the Hatch Act? That federal law that prohibits, I think, campaigning by federal employees.
Right, and it's I know it near and dear because I've said this multiple times. My wife works for the federal government.
Yeah.
I mean, when I ran for office for Attorney General, when I ran for District Attorney, she couldn't even attend my campaign events.
Wow.
My wife could not sit with me at a campaign event because it was seen as campaigning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, and
sure.
she took it a little more seriously than she needed to. But yeah, and so when you see something like that, and I didn't see it, but had I seen it, I think I would have had the same reaction that the authorities at Salt Lake and all these other airports, which is, wait a minute, that's a violation of state and federal law. You can't do political campaigning or political messaging on the public dime, and no question that was the public was paying for that.
It's part of a broader thing too. So when the shutdown started, I understand there were email messages, so signatures added to federal employees' email notices that said we're shut down because of the Democrats, right? Without authorization.
Right.
It was just put on there. So maybe you can break down for us what the Hatch Act actually does. And when I first heard of it, I thought it was named for Orrin Hatch, but it's not actually.
Yeah, it isn't named for Orrin Hatch, but it sort of appeared and occurred about that same time. What it does is it limits what federal employees can do in terms of political activities if they are public employees. And the state of Utah has similar laws as well. But it basically says this: if you're a federal employee, and think of, for example, a judge. I mean, that would be the most obvious example.
Okay.
As a person who cannot campaign for someone.
Sure.
If you're running for office and a judge shows up at your event, that's going to be inappropriate. But the Hatch Act takes it a little further and includes judicial staff. It includes other federal employees as well. I mean, even someone who may be working for one of our Congress people, and let's say they're working for, Senator Lee for just arbitrary reason, and they show up and start campaigning for someone on something, that would be close to the violating the law. And so the Hatch Act really prevents federal employees from getting involved in political activities as much as possible. And it can cost them their jobs. I mean, I've seen people, we had a woman that was working at one of the courts here, locally federal courts, who was appearing in some rally, some event, and she was interviewed on television. She lost her job. I mean, it's a pretty serious matter. And the state makes it a crime as well. Not a crime, but it's a violation of the law for there to be political activities on the public dime. I do want to play. Adam played a little bit of it. I want to play the whole video for it's really short.
It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
So she mentions Democrats twice, and they are holding this up, but so are Republicans in the same sense. I mean, there are two continuing resolutions, one proposed by the Democrats and one proposed by the Republicans, and either side could vote for them and we'd be back in business.
And neither one will.
Yeah, so I don't know that you can blame one or the other, let alone should you be doing that in a public forum. I mean, and it's interesting, there were a lot of other cities that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, so we know, look, I think there's a lot, probably more than we have a list for, but Buffalo, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Cleveland, Ohio, LA, so LAX, right? Phoenix, Arizona, Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas, Portland.
Yeah, so those cities and like you say, others have probably made the determination that this is a violation of state and federal law, and have elected not to publish it. Now, I'm sure that the usual TSA, where she's speaking about safety and that
right.
kind of thing, probably plays, and they've changed some of the regulations. But man, you can't just play something like that says the Democrats are the problem here.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation now, isn't it?